Greetings and welcome to another episode of Let's Play Neverwinter Nights with story time of the henchman.
I suspected you'd show up here. Yes? Is that...
Let's continue the story. I just mentioned the invitation of Kharlat, hadn't I? Yes, that's right. We went. Though I had a sense of foreboding the entire way. The city of Coin lived up to its name. It was a golden, bustling place that rivaled even the Great Water Deep. The palace we arrived at was larger than any building I'd ever seen. Dannon assured me that we would find a fortune here, and for a while I thought he might be right. We were to play before the fabulously wealthy Lord and Lady Onaris, and all seemed well. How did this Lord and Lady even know of you? That was my question, certainly, and there was not anyone seemed to be able to answer. The slaves doted on us, yet simply stared blankly when asked anything. Nothing went wrong at first. Dannon and I were pampered and prepared for our performance, and it went off without any problems. We sang in a great hall before several hundred nobles. It still takes my breath away to think about it, and the applause for our duet was thunderous. I remember being exhilarated and pleased, as Dannon was. It was then that the Lord and Lady Onaris came to greet us in person. Lord Onaris was a fat and simple man who seemed bored. The lady, however, she was an exotic beauty. Violet eyes, elfin features, an astounding gown. Every man watched as he passed. Did you ask why they invited you? Of course I asked why we were invited. Lady Onaris ignored me and fawned over Dannon, saying how she had spotted him in a lovely tavern in Bergost and had wanted to meet with him. I had been in Bergost too, of course, but I was completely ignored. She cooed over Dannon, and he was flushed with pleasure at the attention. He agreed readily to a year-long contract to perform. Of course, I was not happy about it. Dannon calmed me later and assured me there was nothing to worry about. Nothing could have been further from the truth. He left you for the lady then? Not right away. I fought for him. I thought our love would endure. Things weren't exactly as they seemed, however. That's a tale I continue at another time, however. I tire of thinking about Dan and Malcolm. Let's do something else. Yeah. I'll just ignore you further and go to Linu.
I hoped that you would return, so I waited. Hey there, dear. What can I do?
Let's hear your story, Linu. You want to hear about how Synth won my heart, Malcolm? I guess I could tell you about it. I couldn't face Synth since our embarrassing encounter. I had decided to never be near him again. Easier said than done when dealing with a daring adventurer. One night, he scaled the 10-story wall of my parents' home and climbed in through the window. 10-story wall? Your parents must be rich. Well, not the 10 stories anymore. Not since the explosion. But that's a different story, not one I want to get into. As he began to quietly serenade me, I sat bolt upright in bed and opened my mouth to scream. He jumped toward me to quiet me, but I didn't know it was him. So I brought my foot up and kicked him in the jaw. He stumbled backwards and out onto the balcony. I leapt up to continue my attack, but when I got to the balcony, I saw him in the moonlight. He was holding his jaw, his face wrinkled in pain. You mean you broke his jaw? I just bruised him. It must have hurt a lot, because when I realized what I had done, I moved to help him, and he must have thought I was attacking again. I leapt over the edge of the balcony. Yes, he leapt over the edge of the balcony. Since he didn't want to have to hurt me to stop me, or so he said later. I thought he would fall and kill himself, so I ran over to stop him. He had grabbed the ledge of the balcony floor between the rails, and was trying to swing himself towards the lower terrace. I didn't see his fingers, though. Tell me you didn't. I stepped right on his right hand, causing it to slip off the edge. He managed to hang on with his left hand, though. Fearing he would die, I called on Cyanine for the strength to save him. I felt power flow into my muscles, and I reached over the edge, grabbing his hand. I pulled, heard a loud popping noise, and hauled him over the wall, dislocated shoulder and all. Well, at least he survived. I don't think he was terribly thankful at first. He just lay on the balcony, trying to hold his shoulder on Robert's jaw. I was trying to apologize, but he just kept begging me not to touch him. Finally, I got frustrated with his protest and I grabbed his shoulder, popped it back into place, and cast a healing spell on him to relieve the pain. Did he forgive you? I never gave him a chance to think about it. I held him up, kissed him soundly, then led him into my bed chambers and removed any thought of flight from his mind. You mean you... I'm sure you can fill in the details without my help. Yeah, they won't go that far. That's quite a quick way to do things, Linu. I thought elves always took their time doing things because they were slow creatures. We were very close after that night, and we married a year later. Those were the happiest years of my life. I just wish they could have lasted. What do you mean? What happened? Did you kill him? You did killed him, didn't you? I can't talk about that right now. The memories are too unpleasant. Let us not talk of such things right now, sweet Malcolm. We must hunt down the cult responsible for the Wailing Death. Perhaps we can speak of this later, when the time is right. You all say that.
You're back, so you must.
Let's go
Is
talk
there
to
something you need?
Alright, let's continue your story from before. This is difficult for me to speak of, Malcolm. What happened between my father and I, our falling out, is a painful memory. But maybe if I share the tale with someone else, I can ease some of the pain and guilt I feel over what happened. That is a logical assumption, isn't it? My father's days of groundbreaking research in agronomy are behind him. He's an old man content to putter in his own garden, happily living out his days among his friends and family. But even so, he still receives gifts of strange exotic plants from distant lands, so that he can add them to his garden. It is said that in spring, when the flowers bloom in my father's yard, is the most beautiful place on Lantern. It truly is his pride and joy. Let me guess, you destroyed his garden. I wish that had been the only consequence of my actions, Malcolm. My father asked me to tend his garden for a few weeks, while he went to visit a friend on the other side of the island. Everything went well in the first week. I found work enjoyable enough, though hardly as stimulating as my sorcerer studies. I even came up with a more efficient watering system we could use on the plants. But in the second week I noticed the beginning of a rotweed infestation. Rotweed? I've never heard of that. Rotweed is a vile, noxious, crawling vine with a vile, pungent odor. Unchecked, it will overrun any garden in a matter of weeks, choking the life from every other plant. Even worse, the roots release a powerful toxin into the earth, poisoning the soil so nothing else will grow on the land for years. And like most unwanted garden guests, rotweed is virtually impossible to kill. Well, what did you do? The only way to deal with rotweed is to throw fire applied directly to the vines. If you can make the fire hot enough, the flames will be absorbed into the plant and burn down to the root, killing the weed. I still remember my father as a child using oil and torches to destroy a rotweed infestation. It was a long and difficult work, but the vine is resistant to fire, and it's difficult to make the flames hot enough to wither the roots. However, I had no such worries as I went out in the garden that morning. The infestation had only just begun, and I had a secret weapon. After all, I was a sorcerer. With visions of how pleased my father would be at the efficiency of my methods, I approached the weed and unleashed a burning hand spell directly at the vine. But something went wrong, didn't it? I made the mistake of approaching that problem without all the necessary data. My actions were logical in the context of my knowledge, but I was operating under the fatally flawed assumption. There was a reason my father used oil and torches to eliminate the infestation, rather than sending for the local mage. Magical fire destroys rotweed, but the intense heat causes the plant to violently explode. The vine burst, spewing out molten sap that ignited everything it touched. The roots ignited in the earth, and columns of fire, a flame erupted from the soil, raining blazing bits of vegetation down all around me. Were you hurt? Miraculously, I was unharmed by the conflagration, though the entire garden was soon ablaze, as was my father's house, and the houses of the neighbors on the other side. No one was injured, and for that I am at least grateful. By the time the fire brigade doused the flames, all 3 houses were ruined, and my father's prize-winning garden was nothing but ash. It was an accident, Bodyknock. We were only trying to help. It may have been an accident, Malcolm, but that does nothing to mitigate the cost of the terrible tragedy. My father is a wealthy man, so he did not begrudge me the compensation he had to pay to his neighbors on the cost of replacing his own home, but the garden was utterly destroyed. And for that, he has never forgiven me. Maybe someday I can make it up to him, Malcolm. Some gesture to heal the pain I have caused him. Like what? Please, I don't wish to discuss this any longer. The memory is too painful. Perhaps later I will be in a mood to speak more of my tale, but for now we should focus on your mission. The cult responsible for the Wailing Death must be found. Yes, indeed.
I figured it.
But I will be doing that with Tommy. So let's go do that. Back to Castle Jarek. It was nice to have these little side tracks. Just when I'm not feeling in the mood to kill lots of slats. The never dying campaign. Oh, it's not that bad, really. I mean, the slats are relatively easy anyway.
Stand still so I can hit you!
I've something to say.
It was so strange.
Yes, hello to you.
Yeah.
Yes, hello to you.
That was annoying. Alright. Clearly we need a little bit of more tactful approach. As in fully buffed. Because there's a lot of slats there now.
skill so I can hit you!
No more of this dying malark. I've already wasted enough gold and experience on that. Well, probably not that much experience. That's not that bad. Alright, let's explore these side rooms. A wand. That doesn't help. Alright, where did the wand go? Ah, there it is. This one is extremely simple to use. It allows me to use Burning Hands. Alright, I guess that will be useful. Not gonna drink any wine. Yeah, I heard you the first time. I know everyone is dead. I can't really help you.
It's done.
Let's go over to the other side first. Alright, we're looking for Kharlat Jarek now. He could be anywhere, but he's at the end of the hall, so he could be anywhere. Ooh, fire elementals. But at least it's something different.
Ha!
Not particularly challenging, but it's different.
Ah!
No, they're effortless. Don't have any cold spells. Take a fire beetle's belly and a bodex tooth. Actually, let's just take all of it. I mean, I would go be more methodical, but I don't remember right now what I need. So I might as well take it all. Another wand. Some Alexandrite. And some scrolls of Burning Hands. I guess I must need Burning Hands for something then.
Okay, dokie. It's done.
Ooh. Half plate. Trade of blades. Wind by the fireside. What's that? It's just a poem. Yeah, well. I don't mind a bit of poetry, but
Okay, dokie.
doesn't really help me
It's
right
done.
here. Let's just kill more fire elementals then.
Here comes Halfling Death! Stand still so I can hit you!
Well, they're immune against critical hits, but not immune to cleave, luckily. Alright. Well, that brings to an end to this episode, where absolutely nothing went wrong. Thank you for watching. See you all next time.